Good day, everybody. July 20th. It is Sunday, open house day. Sunday is a very famous open house day for Santa Clarita Valley. I want to talk about price changes this morning, what we've encountered for the past week, to kind of give you a good gauge about where the future of real estate probably is going to end up. Now, we have had increases in real estate listings over the past couple weeks that have been quite astonishing. We have gone up at least 50 units for sale in a very short amount of time. In fact, it was almost overnight that we saw that many additions to the real estate market, lacking the absorption figures to be able to take those listings back out of the market in the way of sold. So our inventory has increased. We're over 800, and currently we are sitting right at, I'll give you the exact number here in like 2.5 seconds, 808 total active listings on the market for sale. Now you'll see in the price changes, and I'll post these up, there's 111 of those. The price changes are majority reductions in listing price, not recorded sales prices. We don't know those figures until properties actually sell. And then we look at the historical record and find out where the past solds have been, apples to apples, same neighborhood, same builder. And then we get those numbers, and then we make a determination as to whether the real estate market is reducing in price, and that isn't the case, not in Santa Clarita Valley at least. Now, the further you get away from Los Angeles, that's where that starts to apply. But right now, we're still holding firm with our historical record of sales prices at all-time highs. So they're staying where they are currently. I don't see the inventory blowing up much more. It probably would if the Fed actually reduced that Fed funds rate, because that does have a trickle down effect and will also reduce the mortgage rate. Mortgage rates are based on the 10-year bond primarily. But once we get more confidence in the market, then people start to invest more. So then we have those interest rates start to decline on the mortgage end. But if the Fed funds rate takes a massive hit as far as a reduction, then of course that typically will trickle down. So we'll see the mortgage rates change. That could be enough. What's holding back a lot of the property owners now, they're wearing golden handcuffs. Not a funny cop thing. Golden handcuffs would indicate they're locked into a very special, very low mortgage rate. And it's hard for them to quantify being able to sell that particular residence and go pay double in the amount for mortgage. Because if they're sitting at 3, they're going to be paying upwards of 6, maybe 7, just depending on credit history, type of loan, property location, and these sorts of things. That's what they're considering. So it's like, well, why would we even do it? Because 3 points in interest is quite a big number when you're talking about financing 850 over $1 million. That's a big deal. So the golden handcuffs are holding those sellers in place. We will see that loosen up quite a bit. We could have the market flood with inventory, but then we'll also probably have a respectable amount of buyers at that time as well that are going to go out and they're going to want to purchase real estate because now interest rates are incredibly low. The competition is going to be extreme. It's going to be standing room only, and there's going to be multiple offers on properties, just like we saw back in the early 2020s, where real estate was very much in that way. Not much inventory, a lot of buyers out there in the real estate market. And in fact, so many buyers, to be able to remain competitive, they were giving up a lot of the conditions that they had placed on these properties in the way of contingencies. They were waiving them. Contingencies are basically a buyer's protective element when it comes to purchasing real estate. And if you give that up, then you lose that protection. Now, multiple buyers were giving up a lot of those protections. They waived inspections, believe it or not, totally just said, you know what, I don't want an inspection on the property. When they could, they waived appraisal. They said, we don't care what it appraises for. We're going to go beyond that. Now, when you're locked in with a loan, you have a financial institution that's backing your play, willing to loan you money on a residence. They're going to want to know what the value is. So they're going to send out an appraiser as part of that process. And if the house comes back lower than what you're willing to pay, which happens a lot of times in a very competitive market, then what are you left to do? Well, you can either inject the money, depending on your loan type. It doesn't apply to everybody that's getting a loan on real estate. Certain loan types prohibit adding in, but sometimes you can add it to make up the difference. Maybe in those cases, the seller would come back. But maybe at the very beginning, you gave up that appraisal contingency because you wanted to stay competitive and other buyers were willing to do it. As Mom used to say, if everybody's going to go jump off a cliff, are you going to join them? And I hated that question because, of course, I'm going to jump off the cliff with them. Be wary with that, especially with real estate, because this is a 30-year gig you're signing up for. At least most mortgages are 30 years, in fact. So make sure you make those right decisions. I would ask some people in your periphery, and not everybody's going to be happy that you're going to be buying a house, especially if they haven't, or maybe you're young and these sorts of things. Jealousy does exist at a very high degree. Just protect yourself. Make sure you get educated. You can jump on a call with me. ZoomMeSCV.com. ZoomMeSCV.com. That's where my calendar lives. You'll be able to go there. You can schedule a meeting. We'll talk about real estate. I'll listen to everything you have to say with regard to your position approaching real estate, and then we'll take it from there, and I'll explain to you all the nuances, talk to you about loans and lending, talk to you about the best way to search for properties, how we can get our best advantage, and the things you might not have considered to this point when it comes to buying or selling real estate. So it works on both ends. I'm Connor with Honor. Thank you for watching this Sunday. We're at the 20th of July, 2025. When you're ready, go to Santa Clarita openhouses.com. Not just open houses, folks, but every single listing that happens to be out in the market for sale, you'll see there. It is unlocked. It updates every several minutes via the multiple listing service. There are no ads there, just yours truly, Connor with Honor. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.